It's the Christmas Boxers. Okay, hello everybody. It is John Hamilton here from Yorktown, Virginia, and it is Christmas gift still. What is this? I don't know. It is January 2nd, 2025. Wow, that sounds funny, doesn't it? And it is a Thursday, the 9th day of Christmas, 9 ladies dancing. So, a lot of you have heard that the Star Wars Christmas special, the Star Wars Holiday Special, is the most horrible creation in the history of cinema. And that's not really what happened back in 1978. So let me take you back in the Silver DeLorean to tell you what really happened, because this is kind of interesting, because history tends to get written. I'm 61, I was born in 1963, and I'm starting to realize it keeps getting written. History keeps getting rewritten over and over. You know what they say, the winners of the war write the history books, right? So, the Star Wars Holiday Special appeared on a Friday, November 17th, 1978. Now, the 23rd, the following Thursday, was Thanksgiving. So, we saw it that Friday. We didn't get to talk about it at school till the 20th, Monday, and then those 3 days, Wednesday. And so, you know, those are kind of goof-off days anyway. So, and back then, my school here in Virginia was high school football in Virginia is almost like Texas, really big. So we didn't get a lot done that week, and it was a lot of talk about Star Wars. And a lot of us nerdy or geeky types, as they called us, because in school back then we were divided into 3 distinct categories: nerds, jocks, and the heads, they call them, the ones that like to smoke cigarettes and the smoking. We had a smoking lounge, believe it or not. Yeah, they smoked cigarettes right at school. So actually, I'm a decent athlete. I was a city bowling champion. My team won state one time, but I was in the nerd category. I'm proud of it. I don't care. I like baseball cards and comic books. Oh, by the way, John Hamilton, freelance writer here in beautiful Yorktown, Virginia. Some of my articles and humorous history quizzes have appeared in local newspapers. So, but there were 3 reasons the Star Wars Holiday Special we didn't hate. And let me go over them point by point. Point number 1. There was a guy named Boba Fett who appeared in that originally. That's where he first appeared. And if you go back and watch it, there's a 9-minute cartoon, excuse me, which is part of the 97-minute special. And the cartoon's really good, I think. And Boba Fett appears, and we were all like, wow. When we got back to school talking about an intergalactic bounty hunter, what a crazy idea, you know, that's crazy. Is that really going to be a job one day? So, now point number 2 is Carrie Fisher's speech. And spoiler, I'm going to give something away here, so I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So near the end, Carrie Fisher, they all meet up together, and she gives a speech, dare I say, a Braveheart type speech, and it was very powerful. I thought it was very emotional, and then she sang a nice little song. And that was kind of her coming out party, because in the first Star Wars, which is now A New Hope, you know, she was the princess, a damsel in distress, and Han and Luke had to come save her. And this one, she stepped up to be the leader. That was like, we were like, oh wow, she's a leader. She's in charge. And that we didn't really feel like she was that way in the first movie as much. So that was a big point. Point number 2. And point number 3, music videos. There were those weird music videos. The first one was Diane Carroll, beautiful Diane Carroll. She's won a bunch of awards. The second was Jefferson Starship. Used to be Jefferson Airplane in the 60s. One of the most famous American bands in history. And pretty cool song, I thought. And there was also a musical number by Bea Arthur, which I love her. And I thought that was pretty good. And then Carrie Fisher, as I mentioned previously. So the constant, remember, that was 1978. MTV did not debut till what? August 1st, 1981? Right? I think 80 or 81. I think August 1st, 1981. So MTV had not debuted then. So this was almost 3 years prior. So we didn't really know what music videos were, and these were weird. And these were kind of like the first music videos. I mean, now you could say, well, there were other music videos by the Beatles and the Monkees and so forth, which is true. But this is the first time we really saw weird music videos like that, and thought, hey, they should do that more often. I mean, I remember having that conversation. So when we got back to school, we were talking about those 3 things: Boba Fett, Carrie Fisher's speech and singing, and music videos. Those are huge back in those days. You know, we didn't have, and the special effects. We didn't have special effects, you know, 1978. So any special effects, you might think they're cheesy now, but we thought they were really cool. So in all, it wasn't like everybody's like, I hated that. Nobody came into school going, I hated that. The stupidest thing I've ever seen. That came later because a guy named David Hofstede wrote a book in 2004 titled, What Were They Thinking? 100 of the Dumbest Television Moments, or something like that. And as an aside, I don't know if he's related to Geert Hofstede, the famous Dutch social psychologist, and he did his life's work on culture. Very interesting. If you go on YouTube, you can see some of his very interesting material. But anyway, back to David Hofstede's book. And everybody kind of just jumped on board like sheep at 2004 and started saying, oh, it's horrible. And we've all done that. We've all been sheep and followed along. You got to remember 2004, that's right when YouTube came out, Facebook, and Twitter, all were like 1 year right after the other. So that was when social media really took off, right as he wrote that book. And so that's when that caught on. It wasn't until 2004 that the whole idea, 20 years ago, going on 21 years, the idea that this was a horrible special. Before that, nobody really talked about that way. There were movie critics who did say so, and they hate everything. They hate Jingle All the Way, and come on, that's one of my favorite Christmas movies. Give me a break. So, and there were people that did hate, I'm not going to lie, but a lot of us loved it. And now here's another factor, a huge factor. New Hope was 77. The Star Wars Holiday Special was 78, about 18 months later, and then about 18 months later was Empire Strikes Back. So it was about halfway in between the first two, and we were thirsting for another Star Wars after that first one. We were thirsting. Now, we got Close Encounters of the Third Kind in December of that same year, and that fueled it even more. We really wanted sci-fi, and so we were thirsting. So when that TV special came out, don't forget there were only 3 channels back then. There were only 3 channels. So you watched ABC, NBC, or CBS. And I went back and researched. That same night, that Friday night, ABC showed Love Boat and a part 2 of a miniseries about Pearl Harbor with Angie Dickinson. Not too bad. And then NBC had Different Strokes and the Rockford Files. So there was other good stuff on, in my opinion. But you had 3 choices. So really about a third of the country watched Star Wars. You know, the numbers were huge back then when you had events like that, like the famous MASH finale, because you only had 3 channels. So when we went to school, everybody pretty much watched everything and talked about it. You know, that's how it was. Kind of what was on television unified you. And this is before cable TV, you know. And before computers, and, you know, we went outside and played till the street lights come on, and then you came in, you watched television that night, and you talked about it. So anyway, I hope that clarifies for you that this whole thing about it being horrible didn't really take off to 2004. You know, there were the haters, the critics, but a lot of the nerdy types, we liked it. So I thought you'd like to know that, because history is rewritten over and over, and as you get older, you're going to learn that history was written by the winners. Well, that's it. Kiss. So we'll see you for the next video, and don't forget the 12th day of Christmas is the 5th, and the Feast of the Epiphany with the 3 wise men, that's January 6th. And then we got a lot of cold coming here in Virginia for 2 weeks. Okay, bye. Okay, boys, let me get by. Can I get by? Can I get by? Helper? Where you going, Finn? This is Banks. Say hello. Finn? Okay. Santa. And the mystery package.